Good evening. I'm Drew Thorson. I live out in West Seattle, and I'm here representing the Seattle Metro Pickleball Association. Our goal is to promote pickleball in the city of Seattle. And we're here tonight to try to get the Parks Department to add pickleball facilities in its 2017 open space plan. So specifically, on a more longer range approach, we're looking for three things. One is to line some outdoor tennis courts for pickleball in all Seattle neighborhoods, not just North Seattle, South Seattle. We expect this could amount to roughly 25 tennis courts, and that's roughly 17% of the 151 courts that are available in Seattle, outside courts. The second part would be to include in the 5-year planning construction of dedicated pickleball courts in all Seattle neighborhoods. And third, a longer term, hopefully within 5 years, would be to build a dedicated indoor pickleball facility similar to the Amy Yee and Sandpoint tennis facility. So we're asking that the lining of the tennis courts be done sooner than later, preferably within 12 months. Many of these courts are underutilized, and adding pickleball lines then converts that one-use court to a multi-purpose court. So you can, and you can get up to 4 pickleball courts on one tennis court footprint. I'm aware that requests for adding pickleball lines to tennis courts have come before this board in the past. We've had contacts with the city, and we're not sure we understand why we don't get a response. And while I feel it's probably unintentional, it appears that the sport is being discriminated against throughout the city. So it's the fastest growing sport in the United States. Tennis nationally is on the decline. Also, I'd like you to keep in mind that pickleball players are taxpayers, and we're supporting these tennis courts. So we'd like to get some of them converted to multi-use. If you've never played pickleball or haven't played for a while, we invite you to come. We'll be glad to set you up with folks to play. If I could just have a few more seconds. With respect to the locations that are currently available, those are in the community centers, and we appreciate all the time that we get. It's usually a couple hours a day, but they're during the day. So it's great for seniors. It doesn't do anything for families, for younger people that are working, kids that are in school. It's subject to the Parks Department or the community centers, other things that are going on, basketball. We were just notified that the last week of June, July, and August, there's not going to be any pickleball. So I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Patrick Johnson, who will be followed by Tim Moser.
Patrick, I also represent the SMPA, and actually I'd like to publicly thank everybody for showing up tonight. This is a huge show of support, and why we love pickleball so much, think a big family. All right, my specific concerns tonight is, well, I'm a family man. I have a kid and a wife, and I live up in the North End, and well, to get down to brass tacks, I need more courts because while I appreciate all of the indoor drop-ins that you do, it doesn't bode well for my schedule nor my family. And so what's the solution to that? The solution is outdoor facilities that I can go in and drop in on my time. And then again, no offense to the pilot projects, but through Seattle traffic, there's no way I'm getting down there, especially with my child. So, so to put it succinctly, we need more outdoor courts. We need to resurface underutilized tennis courts and specifically line them. And, you know, as my colleague mentioned, we would like a more dedicated facility. one court, you see the crowd showing up here. One court is great, it's good, but 4, 8, those are the numbers we're talking about because we're such a social group. And yeah, and anyway, I appreciate it. I'll let more people talk so we don't get cut off by that embarrassing buzzer. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Kindinger. I'm a 45-year resident of the city of Seattle. I come before you tonight to urge you exercise your visionary capacity to add more outdoor public pickleball courts. I speak on 3 topics: heritage, community, and pent-up demand. Seattle is a world-class city. The birthplace of pickleball is in Seattle. It was invented by our very own late Congressman Joel Pritchard. Seattle, and you gentlemen and ladies, should embrace the opportunity that is here and add pickleball and become leaders. Embrace this vision. The sport of pickleball is more than just 900 square feet of asphalt. It is a community and social activity. One pickleball court in one place does not promote that. But what happens in those community centers reserved for seniors on weekdays, but which are closed on the weekends, is there are 3 courts in most of the gyms, and somewhere between 15 and 35 people will just show up. Most of them have never met each other before in their lives, and they become fast friends, and those fast friends lead to social activities outside of that. So what I suggest and urge you to think about is, in the community, remember that pickleball is a social sport. Your mission statement talks about promoting community. You can do that by exercising your vision and having clusters of outdoor pickleball courts, no less than 3, so that several of us can drop in and develop a neighborhood kind of activity. Insofar as the one pilot program down or one of the pilot programs in Georgetown, I honestly urge you to save your money. I have seen that problem, that court. There's one court down there. It is an encampment for homeless. The parking all around is full of detritus from the homeless and others. We should not waste our money on that. We have significant pent-up demand, and I urge you to make a difference. Think out of the box for pickleball. The investment that you make for our city in some clusters of pickleball courts will be long-lasting and well rewarded. Thank you for your time.
Larry will.
Is that we have usually as an institution about a 10-year lag period before the actual action catches up with the need of the community. And you can see by the enthusiasm tonight that this is just a little tip of the iceberg of the enthusiasm. So I'd like you to consider that, especially when I heard that pickleball is not in the plan yet, and that it may be part of discretionary funds later if there's funds. Well, to me, that's really missing an important part of the need that's already past tense to act upon. So this is a very vital issue yesterday, but now we're talking about it. So I really urge you to think about this as a priority, and the concerns we have for the lines on the outdoor courts are very simple and small and have a really vast reward system for the community. So that and being put in the plan, not as an afterthought, but in the forethought, is what I really urge you to do, because it would serve the community. Thank you.
I'm testament to the fact that a nearly 70-year-old woman with a bad back and a bum hip and a frozen shoulder can go out and learn to play pickleball and have a lot of fun and hoot and holler. And where do you see that on the tennis court? Laughter. We actually laugh a lot playing pickleball. And we have a lot of fun, and that's why it's a social thing. And we need pickleball more inside. Dedicated pickleball would be great, but mutual with using it with tennis would be okay too. Not as good. Thank you.
Sure.
So one of the things I just wanted to say is that I think it will be, I'm a pickleball person, will be really cheap to draw these lines, and I would be willing to volunteer and get a group of people to do it throughout the city, but at least in the north end where I'm from, and I don't think it would cost much or take much effort, and we could get a lot done in one day or a couple of days. So if you guys provide the machine that makes a straight line and the paint, I'll provide the volunteer people. Also, I know that there's this feasibility study that was done to have the 2 conversion courts done in the this summer, I think, in the South End, Georgetown and someplace else, and they're only 2.3 miles apart. And so I don't know the statistics about people that play down in the South End, because like I said, in the North End, but it would be really nice to have something done in the North End, and not just North End, but West Seattle and other parts as well, than just two that are in the South End that are 2.3 miles apart.
Thank you. Gladys Ruthroth.
My name is Yim Lee, and I have several emails to the department
Okay.
regarding pickleball. And one of the items was the Georgetown proposal for a pilot program. Like the gentleman said, it's a waste of taxpayer money. It's too far away from the pickleball concentration, which is the North End. And traffic is really bad going on the freeway. So it's a better location would be in Greenland. That's a lot more central, more accessible. You talk about accessibility and criteria. Georgetown is that place to have a pickleball.
Thank you.
And I have 2 minutes, right? So, 3 years ago, I met Mr. Gara regarding outdoor pickleball, and I mentioned the fact that the tennis was declining. You remember that? At
2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
North Gate.
Yeah. And you said, well, maybe they'll come back, Well, if you go into in Crooked, tennis is dying. There are many reasons why. I'm not going to go into detail. We can cook it. And pickleball is rising in the opposite direction. We have something like 2.5 million people in the United States play pickleball now. And so then, more reason to convert some of the tennis court to pickleball. And the place to do it is not in Georgetown, but Greenland, I think.
Gladys Ruthroth. I'm going in the order of folks signed up.
Okay, I
So-
agree with him, but I do want to add, I started playing pickleball 20 years ago, and then there were about 25 of us playing. And now 20 years later, there are hundreds, and we still have the same number of facilities, basically. It hasn't increased very much. And I was talking to my friend in St. George, Utah the other day, and she said they put in this fabulous pickleball center down in St. George. And St. George is nowhere near the city that Seattle is.
Frank Dunlap.
Frank.
I turned in a picture of pickleball court. Maybe you could pass that around to your group. That is Yost Park in Edmonds. And one of the complaints I've heard is that if you convert a pickleball court onto a tennis court, it will confuse the tennis players. Well, look at the picture. The blue lines are for pickleball. The white lines are for tennis. And 32 people play at one time on pickleball on those two tennis courts. And it takes 2 cans of paint, spray paint, and some 8 inches of paper with tape to paint 1 pickleball court. There's so many unused tennis courts on the north end of Seattle. It's unbelievable. I've seen several tennis courts that nobody plays on. So I know there's been a lot of talk tonight about spending a lot of money on different projects, but this project is cheap, and if we can get permission from you people, we can paint our own courts. We know how to do it.
Right.
Thank you.
Everything that has been, every point that needs to be made has been made. I just wanted to reinforce one thing. The social aspects of this are incredible. We hear stories about how people take these decrepit courts all of a sudden on the weekends and during the day, and then the evenings are being used, and it really reduces local community crime, really increases the neighborhood cohesiveness. So I wanted to just reinforce that point.
Thank you. Sandra Goldad.
Oh, that would be me. My dad's 93, he's going to be 94 in a couple weeks, and he's been playing pickleball and volleyball for several years. And I just want to let you know, you aren't going to see too many tennis players at that age, but you will see pickleball players at that age. So keep that in mind, because some of you aren't spring chickens either.
Terry,
What are you laughing at?
I can't help that. I stand with all the other pickleball. Thank you.
great, thank you. Jim Verney?
It's Jimmy.
Jimmy, I'm sorry.
Right. Everything that the folks have said, I'm with. What I want you to know is that we don't want to pit neighborhood against neighborhood. We don't want to pit North Seattle, Green Lake, West Seattle. We really want you to consider that the city needs the sport. We really do. And I want to ask you, did you know in that paper that went around that showed you how many facilities have 2 hours of play here and 2 hours of play there? Did you know that come basketball season, we're bumped, we're out? Did you know that come summer, kids programs, we're bumped, we're out? And we don't want to pit youth against seniors. We want to have facilities for all of us. And you can do it by just lining a few outdoor courts. Now.
Yes.
Laura Burns.
Oh, I'm speaking. Okay, didn't know, but good. I play pickleball all around the United States, and it is an incredible sport. I've met people everywhere. It's fabulous. I love it. But the real thing I think that we need are very much dedicated pickleball courts. You can turn a tennis court into a pickleball court by putting lines in, but there is nothing like having a dedicated pickleball facility. Even if it's just 3 outdoor tennis courts that have been turned into pickleball courts, that gives you 12 pickleball courts. You play 1 pickleball game every 15 minutes, and that can circulate 60 people in the matter of a half hour. It's an incredibly fast-moving game. It's a happy game, and we all play it. We all love it. So please.
It's an addiction.
We pay taxes
for a long time, so.
Fran Meyer.
I agree with everything that everybody said. I particularly want to underscore. Am I done already?
No.
What Drew said. Yes, the easy solution is to stripe the underused tennis courts, but also to have a vision. Because everywhere I've gone in the United States, they have developed
pickleball communities. They have dedicated courts, outdoors, indoors. I just went to Centralia, Washington, and played in the International Indoor Championships. They had 32 courts. They were temporary, but they were inside a building, and they were able to do that because they had a facility where they could present such an event. We don't have a place in Seattle where we can showcase a sport that was born here. So please have the vision that Drew asked you to have, and I hope we see more pickleball courts.
Stan Jonathan?
Yeah, I just want to second everything that I've heard here so far, and I just want to add a couple of points. When I go out to Port Angeles, which is a much smaller, much poorer community than we have here, it's more of a blue-collar town, let's face it. At Elks Park, there's 6 dedicated pickleball courts. They have the correct surface. They have, unlike Maple Leaf, they have fences so the ball doesn't go onto the walking running trail. It doesn't shoot down the hill. It doesn't go onto the basketball courts. And plus, they have a community center at Burton, which is a place where they play pickleball every morning from 9 o'clock until noon. In a town that size. Plus, they play in evenings at one of the middle schools, I think. And then they have a senior center up the street where they play 4 days a week. And they have, they usually have 2 hours of beginner every day and 2 hours of advanced. 1 day a week they have 4 hours of advanced in the afternoon. And there's some really good pickleball players out there. The same thing as Squim, which is a town, I mean, what could Squim have? Maybe 15,000 people? I mean, they're going to put in a pickleball center. A whole center just for pickleball. And Walla Walla has these dedicated courts. Cle Elum has dedicated courts. The whole, I think it's like, I think I saw a picture of it, had like 6 courts. You know, has Cle Elum even got 5,000 people? I mean, come on.
Charles Reagan. Is Charles here? Okay. That concludes the folks who were signed up to speak, unless I missed somebody. Did I miss anyone who signed up expecting to speak? If not, we'll close the public hearing and ask Jesus if there's anything that you'd like to say now in response to what you've heard.
Thank you for coming. I would love, because I often don't feel like a spring chicken. I would love to have somebody teach me how to play pickleball, maybe this summer. Yeah. Maybe I'll challenge some of our park board members to the game. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate the passion. I appreciate the interest. You know, I think so there's lots of, we always sort of have this competition between activities. I think when you have one like what you're describing, where it's more about multi-use, you know, if you take courts that are maybe used by tennis and maybe in you know, underutilized, I think this is something that makes a lot of sense to come in. It's certainly something that's relatively inexpensive, and if we've got folks who want to help, so there's lots of ways to do this. So as you guys are talking, I've sort of been scribbling notes to some of my staff to see what we can do. You know, I don't want to commit to saying we're going to stripe a court in every community, but I think there might be some ways to at least get additional courts started. So.
Thank you.
15 seconds, okay?
If you would look at Yale's Park and Yale's Park, you have 2 tennis courts over there, but very little striking for pickleball. Very successful. We have sometime in the 9th state, they have like all 8 courts occupied. Good look at it.
Thank you, thank you.
Can I have 15 seconds?
I shouldn't have done that, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've been places, I have a son-in-law that's probably one of the best pickleball players in the town he's in Arizona. And I've fallen in love with pickleball. And so I have a question more for you. Based on Seattle is a place with an airport, like Las Vegas, my son-in-law played on top of a building, but he didn't have a place to play on the ground. Could this possibly be, this meeting tonight, the beginning of Seattle being a hub, that people would come in, thousands would come in, and it would be a sport played in big center in Seattle?
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes the public hearing. We want to thank everybody for coming. It was a magnificent bit of organizing, and I knew Joel Pritchard. Joel Pritchard was a friend of mine, and he'd be very proud of the turnout. We'll take a 2-minute break.